Most people wake up every morning already behind, not because they are lazy, not because they lack talent, but because their day is running them instead of the other way around. They rush, they react, they stay busy, and at the end of the day, they wonder why nothing meaningful seems to change. But here's a hard truth most people never hear. Success is rarely about big decisions. It's about small daily choices made with intention. The way you start your day, the way you protect your time, and the way you decide what deserves your energy quietly determines the direction of your entire life. Think about the people who seem calm under pressure, who move fast without looking rushed, who consistently make progress while others stay stuck. They don't have more time than you. They have a better system. They plan their day differently. They think differently about time, focus, and priorities. In this video, you're going to learn how to plan your day the way top performers do. Not with complicated routines or unrealistic schedules, but with clear principles that actually work in the real world. These are the habits that turn chaos into clarity, overwhelm into control, and effort into results. If you've ever felt like your days are slipping away, if you've ever worked hard but questioned whether it was even worth it, stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear can change the way you approach every single day from this point forward. Most people plan their day by listing tasks because tasks feel safe and familiar. You write emails to send, calls to make, meetings to attend, and by the end of the day, you feel busy but not fulfilled. Starting with outcomes shifts your mindset from motion to progress. An outcome is the real result you want to create, not the activity itself. For example, sending 10 emails is a task, but securing one high-quality partnership is an outcome. CEOs think in outcomes because outcomes are what actually move businesses, careers, and lives forward. When you plan with outcomes first, you force clarity. You ask yourself what must be true by the end of the day for it to be considered successful. This question instantly filters out low-value work. It makes you confront reality instead of hiding behind productivity theater. Many tasks exist only because they have always been done, not because they still matter. Outcome-based planning exposes this and pushes you to focus on what creates leverage. Another powerful shift is that outcomes guide decision-making throughout the day. When distractions appear, and they always do, you can measure them against your defined outcomes. If an activity does not directly contribute to the result you committed to, it becomes easier to say no without guilt. This is how CEOs protect their time. They are not rude or careless, they are simply clear. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates speed. Starting with outcomes also changes how you allocate energy, not just time. High-impact outcomes usually require deep thinking, creativity, or courage, not constant multitasking. When you identify outcomes first, you naturally schedule them during your peak energy hours instead of squeezing them between low-focus activities. This is why important work finally gets done instead of being postponed endlessly. Outcome-first planning also improves accountability. Tasks can be checked off even when they don't produce meaningful results, but outcomes cannot be faked. Either the result happened or it didn't. This level of honesty forces growth and better planning over time. You begin to understand how long things truly take and what you personally should or should not be doing. Over time, this approach rewires how you see your role in your own life. You stop seeing yourself as someone who reacts to endless demands and start seeing yourself as someone who creates deliberate results through focused action, intentional choices, and disciplined execution day after day. Most people believe their day starts when work starts, but in reality, your day is decided the moment you wake up. The first hours after you open your eyes set the emotional, mental, and physical tone for everything that follows. When the morning is chaotic, rushed, and reactive, the rest of the day usually becomes the same. CEOs understand that if they win the morning, they dramatically increase their chances of winning the day. Controlling your morning begins with intention, not motivation. Motivation is unreliable, but structure creates consistency. Instead of waking up and immediately checking your phone, emails, or social media, high performers protect the early hours for themselves. This is the only part of the day where the world is quiet and demands are minimal. Giving this time away to notifications is like handing over the steering wheel before you even leave the driveway. A powerful morning routine is not about copying someone else's habits, but about eliminating friction and building momentum. CEOs use their mornings to prime their mind and body for performance. This might mean movement to activate energy, quiet time to think clearly, or reviewing priorities to create focus. The goal is not to do many things, but to do the right things that create mental sharpness and emotional stability. When you control your morning, you stop reacting and start leading. You make decisions from a place of clarity rather than stress. Even small wins in the morning, like completing a workout or finishing a focused work session, send a powerful signal to your brain that you are in control. This builds confidence that carries into meetings, conversations, and problem solving throughout the day. Another critical aspect is boundary setting. CEOs decide in advance what they will not allow into their mornings. No unnecessary meetings, no endless scrolling, no urgent but unimportant requests. By setting these boundaries early, they reduce decision fatigue and preserve willpower for moments that truly matter. This discipline compounds because each focused morning makes the next one easier to protect. Over time, controlling your morning becomes a form of self-respect. It is a daily declaration that your goals, health, and future matter more than instant gratification or other people's convenience. This consistency creates rhythm, and rhythm creates reliability in performance. When mornings are intentional, days become productive, and life begins to feel directed instead of scattered. Time blocking is the difference between hoping you'll be productive and deciding that you will be. Most people underestimate how aggressive distractions are. If time is left unassigned, it will be consumed by notifications, interruptions, and low-value tasks that feel urgent but accomplish very little. CEOs understand that time is their most limited resource, so they treat it with precision. Every important activity is given a specific place on the calendar, turning intention into commitment. Ruthless time blocking begins with honesty about how time actually gets used. Instead of creating an unrealistic schedule packed with back-to-back tasks, effective planners account for transition time, mental fatigue, and unexpected issues. This realism prevents frustration and increases follow-through. When you know exactly what you should be doing at a given hour, you remove the constant decision-making that drains focus and energy throughout the day. Another powerful aspect of time blocking is that it protects deep work. High-leverage tasks require uninterrupted concentration, yet they are often the first to be postponed because they don't scream for attention. By scheduling focused work blocks in advance, you create a barrier between your priorities and external noise. During these blocks, distractions are minimized, notifications are silenced, and your full attention is directed at one meaningful objective. Ruthlessness also means learning to say no to anything that threats your blocks. Meetings without clear purpose, last-minute requests, and habitual checking behaviors are challenged instead of automatically accepted. This is not about being inflexible, it's about respecting the plan you created for yourself. When exceptions become the rule, the system collapses. CEOs succeed because they defend their calendar like they would defend revenue or strategy. Time blocking also creates momentum. When one block is completed, the next begins with clarity instead of hesitation. This rhythm reduces procrastination because there is no ambiguity about what comes next. Over time, your brain adapts to this structure, making focus easier and distractions less tempting. Productivity becomes a habit rather than a struggle. Perhaps most importantly, time blocking reveals what truly fits into a day and what does not. When everything is placed on the calendar, you quickly see which commitments are unrealistic and which priorities need adjustment. This awareness leads to better planning, smarter trade-offs, and higher quality execution. Instead of feeling busy and overwhelmed, you begin to feel in control, intentional, and aligned with what actually matters most each day. Most people confuse being busy with being effective. They fill their days with activity because activity feels productive, even when it produces very little real progress. Focusing on high leverage work means identifying the small number of actions that create a disproportionate impact on results. CEOs are constantly asking which tasks directly influence growth, revenue, learning, or long-term advantage, and they prioritize those above everything else. High leverage work is often uncomfortable because it requires thinking, decision-making, and sometimes risk. It usually cannot be completed on autopilot. This is why many people unconsciously avoid it and gravitate toward easier tasks like responding to emails, organizing files, or attending unnecessary meetings. These actions create the illusion of progress without the pressure of responsibility. CEOs train themselves to resist this trap and deliberately choose work that actually moves the needle. Another key aspect is understanding personal value. High leverage work is different for different people depending on their role, skills, and goals. For someone building a business, it might be strategy, sales conversations, or product decisions. For someone building a career, it could be learning a rare skill, producing high quality output, or solving difficult problems. When you are clear on where your greatest value lies, it becomes easier to identify which tasks deserve your best energy. Focusing on leverage also changes how you measure success. Instead of asking how much you did today, you ask how much impact you created. One focused hour on the right problem can outperform an entire day of scattered effort. This mindset encourages depth over volume and quality over quantity. It also reduces burnout because energy is invested where it produces meaningful returns rather than being drained by constant busy work. High leverage thinking naturally leads to better prioritization. When faced with multiple demands, you can quickly evaluate which ones align with your core objectives and which ones can be delayed or declined. This creates clarity and reduces stress because you are no longer trying to do everything. You are intentionally doing what matters most. Over time, consistently choosing high leverage work compounds results. Small daily improvements in the right areas accumulate into significant progress while others remain stuck despite working longer hours. This approach transforms how you see productivity, shifting it from effort-based to impact-based, and helps you build momentum that aligns your daily actions with your bigger goals. Trying to do everything yourself is one of the fastest ways to become overwhelmed and ineffective. Many people believe that being involved in every task means being responsible, but in reality, it often means being stuck. CEOs understand that their value is not in doing more, but in doing less of the wrong things. Eliminate, automate, and delegate is a mindset that forces you to question how your time is being used and whether it is being used wisely. Elimination comes first because not everything deserves to exist. Many daily tasks add no real value, but continue simply because they have become habits. Unnecessary meetings, repetitive checks, low-impact conversations, and outdated processes quietly drain energy. By eliminating what does not contribute to meaningful outcomes, you immediately free up time and mental space. This step alone often creates the biggest improvement because it removes noise rather than adding effort. Automation is about letting systems handle what does not require human creativity or judgment. Repetitive tasks consume far more time than most people realize. Simple systems, tools, or routines can handle scheduling, reminders, data entry, follow-ups, and basic workflows. CEOs invest time once to build or choose systems so they don't have to repeatedly spend time later. Automation reduces errors, increases consistency, and allows you to focus on work that actually requires your attention. Delegation is where many people struggle because it requires trust and humility. Letting go of tasks can feel uncomfortable, especially if you believe no one else will do them as well as you. CEOs understand that perfection is often the enemy of progress. Delegation is not about abandoning responsibility, it is about transferring execution while retaining oversight. When you delegate effectively, you multiply output without multiplying effort. Another important shift is recognizing that doing something yourself has a hidden cost. Every task you keep that could be automated or delegated steals time from higher value work. Even if you are capable of doing it, that does not mean you should. CEOs constantly ask whether a task requires their unique skills or whether someone or something else could handle it adequately. Over time, applying eliminate, automate, and delegate creates leverage. Your days become lighter, your focus sharper, and your impact larger. Instead of being buried in tasks, you begin operating at a higher level, making better decisions and directing energy where it matters most, which is the core difference between managing time and leading outcomes. Ending the day with review and reset is what separates intentional growth from repeated mistakes. Most people finish their day exhausted and mentally shut down without ever reflecting on what actually happened. CEOs treat the end of the day as a feedback loop, not a finish line. Reflection turns experience into insight, and insight is what drives continuous improvement. A daily review does not need to be complicated or time-consuming. It is about asking honest questions and answering them without emotion or self-judgment. What did I plan to do today, and what actually got done? Where did my time go? Which actions produced real results, and which ones only created activity? This clarity helps expose patterns that are invisible when you are constantly rushing from one task to another. Reviewing the day also builds accountability. When you know you will reflect on your actions later, you become more intentional in the moment. Excuses lose their power because the evidence is clear. Either progress was made or it was not. This level of personal honesty strengthens discipline and sharpens future planning. Instead of repeating the same ineffective behaviors, you begin making small adjustments that lead to better outcomes. The reset portion is just as important as the review. Resetting means mentally closing the day so it does not bleed into the next one. CEOs understand that carrying unfinished business and mental clutter into the evening reduces recovery and harms focus the next day. By consciously deciding what can AIT and what must be addressed tomorrow, you give your mind permission to rest. Another powerful benefit of ending the day this way is confidence. Even on difficult days, a review often reveals lessons learned or small wins that would otherwise go unnoticed. Recognizing these builds momentum and reinforces the belief that progress is being made, even when results are not immediate. This mindset prevents burnout and keeps motivation steady over the long term. Over time, daily review and reset creates compounding growth. Each day informs the next, planning becomes more accurate, and decision-making improves. You stop drifting through days on autopilot and start operating with intention and awareness. This habit transforms time into a teacher, ensures that effort is aligned with outcomes, and creates a rhythm of continuous learning that strengthens performance and clarity in both work and life. As you move forward, remember this. Planning your day like a CEO is not about working longer hours or filling every minute with activity. It is about thinking clearly, choosing intentionally, and acting with purpose. When you focus on outcomes instead of tasks, protect your mornings, block your time with discipline, commit to high leverage work, remove what doesn't matter, and reflect at the end of each day, you stop reacting to life and start leading it. These habits may seem simple, but practiced consistently, they create extraordinary results. Your days shape your weeks shape your years, and your years shape your legacy. The moment you take control of your day is the moment you take control of your future. I wish you the courage to protect your time, the discipline to follow your plan, and the patience to trust the process. Good luck on your journey to becoming more focused, intentional, and effective. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your commitment to becoming better every single day.